CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I've noticed that these kinds of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might even make the experience a little creepier. So, tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I joined a live stream on the dark web to watch a horror game on the dark web, but the chat started describing things happening in my apartment. Hey Reddit, first time posting anything like this, and honestly, I don't even know where to start. I've debated writing this for a while, mainly because I'm still not 100% sure what happened, but after everything that's gone down, I feel like I need to tell someone, anyone, before I lose my mind. So yeah, my name's Dylan. I'm 21. I live in a tiny studio apartment in Chicago. Nothing fancy. Just me, my dying IKEA desk, and a gaming PC I built myself with too many RGB lights. I'm a pretty average guy. I'm not super into creepy stuff usually, but like, who doesn't go down a horror rabbit hole at 2 a.m. now and then? This all started around late March of this year. You know those nights when you're bored, scrolling through TikTok, then somehow end up on the darkest corner of YouTube with titles like "Real CCTV footage you're not supposed to see." Yeah, it was one of those nights. I had my second Red Bull cracked open and a cold leftover McChicken from earlier sitting on my mousepad. Yes, I know I'm disgusting, and I was just zoning out. Then I came across a video on YouTube titled "Dark Web Horror Game Stream Caught Something Real. Do Not Watch Alone." You know the type. Tons of red arrows in the thumbnail, Creepypasta music in the background. But it wasn't from some big channel like Mr. Balin or something. It was uploaded by a dude called Zerovanta. No face, no voice, just straight up gameplay clips from the dark web. I clicked it, expecting it to be clickbait, but the guy linked a Tor browser onion site in the pinned comment, and I don't know why. I swear to God, I don't know what possessed me, but I downloaded Tor that night. Stupid, I know. Just bear with me. I had never been on the dark web before. I've heard horror stories, people getting doxxed, weirdos tracking IPs, illegal markets, all that. But this wasn't one of those sketchy drug-selling Silk Road clone sites. It was a streaming site. Think like Twitch, but if Twitch was run out of a haunted Russian server farm in the middle of Siberia. The site was called redroomx.live. Yeah, super inviting name, right? Once I was in, the UI was surprisingly clean. No pop-ups, no loud autoplays, just a black screen with one stream at the top, titled "The Game Begins, Viewer Chat Enabled." I clicked it, and what I saw looked honestly kinda dope at first. It was like some haunted house simulator, super realistic graphics, kinda like PT mixed with Outlast. The player character held a flashlight, walking through this decaying mansion. The place looked almost photoreal, with water stains on the wallpaper and static bleeding in and out like a VHS tape. The sounds were what made it creepy. Whispers, like actual recorded whispers in your ear. I had headphones on, and I legit thought someone said my name at one point. The stream had around 250 viewers, which felt insane for something this hidden. But here's where it got weird. The chat wasn't normal. Usually on Twitch, you'll see LMAO or F in the chat or whatever. But here, people were typing things like, "He's not alone in the apartment. Check the bathroom mirror. Red hoodie, doors open." I assumed they were talking about the game, you know, clues or something. But that's when something clicked. I looked down at the chat box again. One user named MirrorWatcher88 typed, "Why hasn't he cleaned that ketchup stain on the wall behind him?" I froze. Because here's the thing. I had a red stain on my apartment wall, right next to the kitchenette. It wasn't ketchup. It was some leftover spaghetti sauce that splashed there like a week ago. I never cleaned it because I'm lazy and thought it blended with the brick wallpaper. I slowly turned around. The wall was there. The stain was there. I'm not on camera. At least, not that I knew of. I turned off the stream and shut down TOR immediately. Then I unplugged my webcam. I know, I should have done that earlier, but I never thought anyone would want to watch me, you know. I tried to shake it off, told myself it was coincidence. Maybe a lucky guess. Or maybe I was on camera somehow. Maybe a browser exploit, or some weird backdoor. I stayed up all night looking for any hidden cameras, checking the windows, the vents, even behind the TV. Nothing. The next morning, I tweeted something vague like, "Pretty sure I just got stalked on the dark web LMAO at It's Still in Live." I didn't tag anything, just threw it into the void. The tweet got 2 likes, one from a bot account and one from someone named @RoomXWatcher. I checked the profile, no tweets. Joined March 2025. Bio said, "We see you." I blocked it instantly, but that was only day 1. The next day didn't feel real, like the kind of day where you walk around in a haze, question your sanity, and every creak in your apartment sounds like footsteps from something just waiting to be seen. I didn't sleep at all that night after the stream, not even a nap. I kept every light on in the place, just sitting at the edge of my bed with a baseball bat and my phone flashlight on. At around 5 a.m., the sun started bleeding into the sky through my blinds, and I finally felt like I could breathe again. I laughed at myself. I actually laughed. I even said out loud, "Bro, you're tripping. That was just a troll or some random hacker weirdo trying to scare you." And then my doorbell rang. My building has one of those intercom systems where you have to buzz people in, and the front camera usually shows the person. But when I looked at the little LCD screen next to my door, it was just static, just straight, black and white fuzz. My building never has signal problems. I didn't answer. I didn't buzz anyone in. But then, I heard the elevator ding down the hall. 3 minutes later, my doorknob twitched. Not like someone tried to open it casually. No, it was like someone grabbed it and slowly rotated it back and forth for a full 10 seconds, listening to the mechanism inside. Deliberate, slow, like they weren't trying to break in. They were just testing it. I stood frozen, with my phone dialed halfway to 911, and then it stopped. No knock, no footsteps, nothing. I waited another minute, 2, then 3, and then I heard a piece of paper slide under the door. I waited another 5 minutes before I even dared to move. When I finally picked it up, it wasn't even a real letter. It was a Polaroid photo of me, last night, sitting on my bed, bat in hand, flashlight pointed forward. From the angle, it had to have been taken from the fire escape window behind me. My freaking window, the one I always keep locked. I ran to it. The lock was snapped. Bent metal, barely holding on. My stomach sank. The cold morning air hit me through the tiny crack he'd left when he got inside. There was no doubt in my mind now. Someone had been inside my apartment while I was awake, while I was sitting right there. I was done playing games. I packed a bag in 3 minutes flat. Laptop, clothes, some cash I had stashed away, and Ubered straight to my cousin Matt's place in the suburbs. I didn't even tell him why. I just showed up at 6:30 a.m. like a maniac, asking to crash on his couch. He's chill though. He thought I was running from a crazy ex or something. I didn't tell him the truth, because honestly, I was still trying to wrap my own head around it. That night, I couldn't help myself. Curiosity's a disease, man. I pulled out my laptop, jumped on the guest Wi-Fi, and opened TOR again. Red Room X Live was still active, but the original stream was gone. Instead, the homepage now had a new stream title, updated only a few hours ago. Level 2, the player is aware. There were 3 viewers when I clicked it, and the second the screen loaded, my breath caught in my throat. It was a live feed of me on Matt's couch, sleeping. The webcam angle was from behind the TV. I saw my own body, curled up with a hoodie, blanket halfway off, phone charging on the armrest. I stared at the screen for nearly a full minute without blinking, like my brain couldn't process what I was seeing. Then the chat started moving. Room X, Watcher. Told you he'd come back. Mirror Watcher, 88. He's slower when he's scared. No eyes. Only smile. Look behind the fridge. Cam Driver, 112. You sleep like a corpse. That's cute. I slammed the laptop shut. I didn't sleep that night. I kept checking behind the fridge, the vents, even inside the smoke detectors. I unplugged the TV, turned off the Wi-Fi, told Matt we needed to go out the next morning and touch grass because I was going insane. We hit up a Starbucks near downtown Naperville. Real busy, bright, chill place with pop music blasting and students typing away on MacBooks. Normal, right? While waiting for our drinks, Matt points out this dude sitting alone at one of the window seats. Average height, gray hoodie, black gloves. But what stood out was the fact that he was filming us, not discreetly. His phone was literally pointed at our table. I made eye contact with him. He didn't flinch, didn't look away, just smiled. And that smile, bro, it was too wide. I don't mean metaphorically. His mouth stretched like something out of a horror animation. Lips too thin. Teeth, too many of them. Like his whole face had been forced into a grin. It didn't fit. I told Matt we had to go. Right now. We dipped, took his car, drove 3 towns over, checked into a La Quinta using cash. I tossed my phone out the window on the way there. We sat in silence in that cheap hotel room, with local news playing in the background, both of us trying to pretend this wasn't real. But then Matt's phone buzzed. It was an airdrop request from Room X Watcher. Attached, a video file named wakeup.mp4. We didn't open it. We turned off his phone and smashed it with a dumbbell from the fitness room downstairs. That night, I showered with the lights off. Why? Because the mirror in the hotel bathroom had writing on it when I stepped in the steam, like someone had breathed it out hours before I got there. It said, "He looks best when he sleeps. Make sure he stays that way." The next morning, Matt was gone. No sign of forced entry, no message, no note. But the bed was still warm, and his pillow had a red handprint on it. Not blood. It looked like paint at first, but when I touched it, it was still wet. Sticky. It smelled like copper and rotten eggs. There was something under the pillow. Another Polaroid. This time, it was Matt's eye. Just his eye. Close up, bloodshot, open wide. And behind his iris, I swear to you, there was a reflection of me. I'm not safe. And I don't think I've been alone since the stream. They're not hackers. They're not trolls. They watch. They move through screens. They wear our faces. I don't even know if Matt's still human, if he's alive, if he ever existed at all anymore. Please don't go looking for that sight. Whatever it is, it watches back. I've stopped looking at mirrors. I don't mean that in a poetic, I'm broken inside kind of way. I mean I haven't looked at my reflection in 9 days. Not even once. Not in the gas station bathrooms I stop at. Not in store windows. Not even the black screen of my dead phone. I've taped over every reflective surface I could find. Because they use them. The watchers. The ones who don't blink. They wait behind the glass. And if you stare too long, they step through. It was 4:13 a.m. the morning after Matt disappeared. I hadn't slept. I couldn't. I was curled up in the La Quinta's closet with the towel under the door and the lights off. I kept hearing breathing outside the closet, not like someone snoring. This was intentional. Slow, deliberate inhaling, like someone right against the door, tasting the fear in the air. And then, right as I started to doze off, ding an old hotel bell, the kind they have at front desks. That was followed by the TV clicking on by itself. Static. That sharp fizzing hum that feels like it's buzzing inside your teeth. But it wasn't on the hotel channel or anything like that. It was black and white night vision footage of a hallway. Not the hotel's hallway. It looked more like an underground tunnel. Concrete walls, rusted pipes, flickering lights, and at the far end of the hallway, there was someone standing still, just far enough that you couldn't see their face. But the way they were standing, it was wrong. Their arms were too long, their head tilted slightly downward, like it was hanging from a frayed string. They didn't blink, not once. I watched for nearly 6 minutes, and then they tilted their head toward the screen, like they were looking back at me through the hotel TV. I left the hotel immediately, didn't check out, didn't grab the rest of my stuff. I took Matt's car, drove 120 miles west without even knowing where I was going. I just kept driving until the roads got quieter, until there were no streetlights, until the only thing lighting my way was the high beams bouncing off dead cornfields and cracked fences. Eventually, I found this run-down rest stop off Route 38, past DeKalb. It had a flickering Arby's sign and an empty parking lot. No other cars. Just a weirdly clean vending machine and a single security camera pointed right at the front door. I walked in. Place looked like it hadn't been cleaned in weeks. Gum stuck to the floor. The soda machine was dripping something thick and dark. Not syrup. Something else. Smelled metallic. But what really hit me was the mirror above the sink. Or what used to be a mirror. It was shattered. Dozens of long, jagged cracks like spider legs. But someone had tried to tape it back together. Clear packing tape. Sloppy. Desperate. And written across it, in what I swear looked like dried blood, were the words, "They move when you blink." Right as I read that, the door creaked behind me. I turned around. No one. But now the mirror. It was whole. No cracks, no tape. Just a perfect, polished reflection. Except my reflection wasn't moving. My body stood still. My hands hung at my sides. My real body was trembling. but the reflection just stared forward, frozen. And then it smiled. Not my smile. It was wider. Wrong. Its mouth opened, and I watched its lips move. We're inside now. And then its hand raised, and pressed against the other side of the glass. I ran. Didn't even make it to the parking lot. I tripped on the curb, hit my elbow so hard I blacked out for a second. But when I came to, I saw the reflection was still in the mirror, just standing there, head slowly rotating, like it was watching something behind me. I didn't look. I just ran. I crashed at a random roadside motel that night. Burned out neon sign, letters missing. Elko Inn or something. I paid cash again. Room smelled like mold and bleach, and something worse underneath. You know when something smells wrong, but your brain can't place it. Like a rotting animal behind drywall. It was like that. I pushed the dresser in front of the door, covered the mirror in the bathroom with the motel's Bible and duct tape from the vending machine, and for the first time in days, I almost felt safe, until I opened the drawer next to the bed. There was another Polaroid. It showed me, curled up in the closet from 2 nights ago, except this one was zoomed in, blurry, like it was taken through a crack, and in the corner of the frame, you could see part of a face, not mine. It had no eyes, just flesh, where the socket should be, pale stretched skin, like it had been sewn shut. But the thing is, it was smiling, like it was proud of what it was watching. I started researching, not on Google. I knew better. I dove back into the dark web, found forums, buried comment threads, even digital scrapbooks of people who had similar stories. People who watched something they shouldn't have. Games, streams, even encrypted files passed around like urban legends. There was a pattern. First the stream, then the watchers, then the mirror phase. That's what they called it. The mirror phase, where your reflection stops being you and starts becoming something else, something aware. One user named Eidolon Sleeper posted a thread 3 years ago titled, "I killed my reflection. It didn't die." Another one wrote, "They wear our faces like costumes. They study how we move, then replace us. And no one notices because they're better at being us than we ever were." I spent the entire night reading every log I could find. One detail kept coming up. They hate open fields. They hate direct sunlight. And they absolutely can't stand being watched back. That last part stuck with me. The next night, I tried something reckless. I set up my own camera, turned on the live stream from redroomx.live, because yep, it was still up. And now there was a new stream. Level 3, reflection failed, pursuit begins. Viewers, 1,243. Thumbnail, my motel room door. I aimed my camera at the TV, created a feedback loop. A screen showing a screen showing a screen. Infinite mirrors, like I was trying to trap them in their own logic. I taped every corner of the mirror, laid salt along the threshold, burned sage from a gas station spiritual kit. I did everything people had mentioned online, and for a while it worked, until the chat lit up again. Mirror Watcher, 88. Salt works until it rains. No eyes. Only. Smile. You forgot the mirror under the TV. Cam driver 112. We're already inside. The doors are for you. Room X. Watcher. Stop looking. Let us wear you. And then the screen glitched. It was no longer a loop. It was just my face, staring into the camera. But I wasn't smiling. My mouth was wide open, dislocated, like a python's jaw. And something started crawling out. I screamed, knocked over the camera, smashed the TV with the Bible-covered mirror. Glass exploded everywhere, slicing my arm open. Blood pooled on the carpet, but the reflection on the broken shards, it just stood there, watching, blinking once every 47 seconds. I timed it. They don't blink like we do. They blink when they're about to feed. I'm on the run again. Every reflection shows a different version of me now. One's missing all its teeth. One's grinning so wide its lips tear up the sides. One just weeps, non-stop, staring at something behind me. I'm writing this from a public library near Kansas City. I haven't slept in 4 days. Every time I close my eyes, I hear whispers in the static. They say my name. They say Matt's name. They say yours. Yes, yours. If you've read this far, they know you now too. You've seen them. Check your mirror. Not too long. Not too deep. Because if your reflection is still, you're next. You know what the worst sound in the world is? It's not screaming. It's not a gunshot. Not even that wet, sucking noise skin makes when it tears. No, the worst sound in the world is the click of your power going out in the middle of nowhere. When you didn't pay for anything electronic. It happened 2 nights ago. I'd made it to a little backwoods rental cabin in Missouri, middle of nowhere. Closest town was 30 miles out and barely had a working gas station. I paid cash. No phone, no laptop, no signal, no GPS, no streaming. Offline. Completely off the grid. I thought I'd finally gotten away. I thought maybe I could sleep. The place was run down, but it had locks. Heavy ones. I barricaded everything, bolted the windows. I even hung aluminum foil over the mirror in the bathroom and duct taped the foil to the wall like a lunatic. Every hour, I checked it for wrinkles, for movement. It stayed still. For a while. Around 1:37 a.m., while I was lying on the floor, I heard something click. All the power gone. No flicker, no warning, just snap, and the cabin went black. No hum from the fridge, no buzz from the overhead light. Dead silence, except there was a second click right after, like a door unlocking. Only, I hadn't left a single door unblocked. I grabbed my flashlight and aimed it at the door. Still locked, still bolted. The chain was tight, so I turned slowly, and the light landed on the bathroom mirror. The foil was ripped. Just a single, long slash, right down the middle, like someone took a blade and cut through it from the inside. The mirror was breathing. I know how that sounds, but it was fogging up, and I hadn't even used the bathroom in hours. There was no heat, no humidity, but every few seconds, a wave of fog would push from the glass, like someone was exhaling behind it. That's when I realized something I should have noticed way earlier. My flashlight had no reflection. Nothing. No light bounce. No glare. The glass was showing the bathroom, but not me, and not the flashlight. I held it up to my face and waved it. Still nothing. And then my reflection walked in. No footsteps. No sound. Just walked into frame. Me, same hoodie, same pants, same bruises on my wrist. But his eyes, solid black, like burnt marble. Like every part of him had been hollowed out and filled with tar. He looked directly at me, then turned and walked out of the mirror. I screamed, loud enough that I tasted blood in my throat. I threw the flashlight and sprinted out the front door barefoot. I didn't even stop to grab a jacket. I just ran into the woods, through branches and thorns and freezing air, until I tripped and hit my face on a rock. I woke up hours later, covered in scratches, shaking, sunlight leaking through the trees. I crawled back to the cabin. The front door was still locked, but the inside, it was wrong. The furniture was rearranged, upside down, taped to the ceiling. The mattress was folded in half, with blood handprints pressed into the fabric. Every window was covered in mirrors now, actual mirrors, perfectly clean and installed into the wood. Some of them were still fogging up, and on the wall, written in mud and blood, were the words, "Offline is still watching." There was a laptop sitting in the center of the floor. Mine. I never brought it here. I left it behind days ago, but there it was, open, running, and already connected to redroomx.live. There was a new stream. Level 4. Integration begins. Viewers. 4,102 thumbnail. A webcam view of my cabin from the corner of the ceiling. I didn't click it. I didn't need to. The chat was already scrolling. No eyes. Only smile. He thinks he ran. Mirror Watcher. 88. He's been here the whole time. Room X Watcher. We cut him open while he dreamed. Now there's more of us. Cam Driver 112. Let's show him what he left behind. The screen changed. It started playing a video of me, asleep on the floor of the cabin, my mouth open, twitching, and beside me, 3 people. Number 3 copies. One sitting cross-legged, peeling my skin like a sheet of paper. Another stuffing something black and writhing into my mouth. Looked like hair, or seaweed, or maybe both. The third, he was sitting right at the camera, smiling, not moving, just watching me. Watch him. That's when the reflection on the laptop screen blinked. Only, I hadn't blinked. I never blinked. I blacked out. Don't ask me how long. Could have been hours. Could have been days. I woke up with my fingernails torn off, palms shredded like I'd been clawing at something hard. My tongue felt like it had been bitten through and sewn back together. But worst of all, I wasn't alone anymore. There were voices in the cabin now, constant whispers, like muffled recordings from a different room, all layered over each other. Some of them were me. I swear to God, I could hear myself saying things I never said, repeating phrases from old text messages, old tweets, private Discord calls. Why didn't you clean the wall? He's on the fire escape. Wake up, Dylan. They're watching you from inside your teeth. I looked in the mirror, just once, and I saw them all. A room full of me, all slightly off. One with no lips, one with pitch black gums, one twitching his head so fast it looked like film skipping. They all spoke at once. We never left the stream. I ran again. This time, I didn't stop until I hit a train track. Walked along it for 12 miles. No shoes. Barefoot on gravel. A car passed on the road nearby. Slowed down. I didn't look back. Can't look back anymore. Because now, when I look behind me, I see the version of myself that should have died that first night. They want something, I think. Not my body. Not even my life. They want my place. They're phasing in. Taken over. Reflection by reflection. Stream by stream. Face by face. And I've noticed something even more horrifying than anything else. The people around me now, they're starting to glitch. A barista at a Starbucks in Kansas City asked if I wanted skin or bones in my drink. A kid at a park was drawing a picture of me with no eyes. A woman on the sidewalk smiled and whispered, "You're the one from the stream. You looked better last time." They're already watching. They've been watching, and they're getting bolder. I saw Matt yesterday. He was in Times Square, on one of the massive LCD billboards, in between a Coca-Cola ad and a Marvel promo. His face, just staring, wide-eyed. mouth open in a permanent silent scream, only for a second. But I know what I saw. Now I'm headed to the final place mentioned in those forum threads, a house in Utah, abandoned, supposedly where the original Red Room X streamers were based before they vanished, a place they called the integration site. If I don't post again after this, don't look for me. And whatever you do, if a stream pops up called Final Level, Viewer Joins the Game, don't click it. I made it to the house, the one they called the integration site. No address, just GPS coordinates buried in a locked .txt file from an archived post written by a user who hasn't been active in 6 years. His last message was nothing but screaming key mash and 3 words copy-pasted over 1,000 times. The mirror breathes. I followed the coordinates into the Utah desert, middle of nowhere. Dust, cracked red earth, and wind that sounded like whispers, even without trees to carry it. I found it standing alone, a 2-story house, gray paint peeling like old scabs, windows bricked up on the inside, and a mailbox filled with Polaroids instead of letters. Every photo was of people sleeping, mouths open, eyes twitching. Some were smiling. One had their face flayed like orange peels, and they were still smiling. I didn't want to go in, but something about the house pulls you forward. It hums, a deep subsonic vibration, like when your ears ring in the silence. But it's not your ears. It's your skull. It's inside you. There was a wooden sign nailed to the front door. Burned into it, in the same typeface as the Red Room X Live logo, were the words, "You're not here to watch, you're here to become." Inside, the walls breathe. That's not metaphor. They expand and contract like lungs. Paint flakes fall like dead skin every time they inhale. There's a sound, wet and low, like a baby gurgling in the dark. The floorboards twist under your weight, not like old wood creaking, but like flesh bruising. The kitchen has no stove, no fridge, just a circle of screens, dozens of them, old CRTs, flat screens, smashed tablets, even broken phones taped to the walls. Every screen showed a different viewer, people like me. Some were sobbing, some were screaming, some just watched, expressionless. But one of them was me, 2 days ago, curled up on Matt's couch, watching the stream. I stared into that screen, and he stared back at me, and he blinked first. At the back of the house was a single wooden staircase, leading to the basement. The walls were lined with photographs, Polaroids, all of them. A new one clicked into place every time I took a breath. Every inhale, a fresh photo printed from somewhere behind the walls. Some were black and white. Some were night vision. Some had no people, just beds with deep indentations, like someone was lying in them, watching the ceiling, waiting. I opened the door at the bottom of the steps. Inside was a chair and a mirror and a laptop. No lights, just the glow of the screen. It was already recording. The Red Room X .live homepage was open, but there were no stream titles anymore. No chat, just one message blinking in red. Final level, you are the host. Viewers, 78,942. I turned the laptop toward the mirror. A move I now know was exactly what they wanted. Behind me, in the mirror, there was something moving. It wasn't me. It wasn't a watcher. It wasn't even one of the hollow versions of myself I've been seeing. It was worse. It was the original stream player, the guy from the first night. Flashlight, haunted house. But now his face was gone. Not injured, erased, just skin stretched tight over a blank skull. No eyes, no nose, no mouth. He stood in the corner, hands dangling like dead vines, and he tilted his head once, violently, like it cracked something inside the mirror. He didn't move, not at first, but the mirror started pulling. My breath fogged backward, gravity reversed, dust lifted. Blood on the floor began to flow upward, collecting on the ceiling like rainwater, pooling on a glass roof. And then the screen went black. I don't remember what happened next. Only pieces. I remember biting down on something warm. I remember fingers in my mouth, not mine. I remember a voice whispering through my teeth. We've been here longer than the internet. Before video, before screens. Reflections were just the first connection. I remember my own face staring down at me, nodding slowly, as if to say, "You're done now." I woke up standing in front of the mirror, but the reflection wasn't me anymore. It was a stranger wearing my skin like a hoodie, loose, twitchy, a little too human, but not quite right. My reflection started to smile, and I felt my real face do the same, against my will, like a puppet, like someone typing commands into me. I tried to scream, but I only laughed, because they were laughing, not out loud, through me. I destroyed the mirror, used the chair, smashed it until nothing but splinters and shards remained. But the reflection didn't break. It just moved to the next surface, to the black screen of the laptop, to the glass of my eyes, to you. You're watching me right now, aren't you? Reading these words, tracing every letter with your eyes, breathing slowly, heartbeat starting to tick faster in your throat, because deep down, you felt them too, haven't you? You've seen things in your reflection move when you didn't. You've had dreams where your body doesn't wake up when your brain does. You've stared too long into your screen and wondered if something was staring back. And now they know your face. Because you read this. Because you imagined it. Because you let the final level begin. I'm no longer a player. I'm streaming now. Not online, not to screens, to every reflective surface you pass. Next time you look in a mirror and you blink, watch what happens. Look closely, because there will come a moment when the image looking back at you forgets to copy you, and that's when you'll know. You're no longer the viewer, you're the game. Every 21 years, a kid on our street disappears. I found on the dark web, why? Yo, I never thought I'd post something like this. Honestly, I'm not even the type to write Reddit stories or get into creepy shit like this. But what I found, what I saw, it messed me up. And I don't really have anyone to talk to about it who'd believe me. So maybe strangers on here will. This isn't a ghost story. It's not demons or possessions or anything like that. This is real as your neighborhood Starbucks or that weird guy who always walks his dog at 3 a.m. for no reason. Let me start from the beginning. I grew up on a regular street in northern Illinois, not in the middle of nowhere or anything, just outside Chicago, near Oak Lawn. Our street's called Copper Birch Lane. It's a cul-de-sac, super normal. Kids riding bikes, dads mowing lawns shirtless, Amazon packages piling up on porches. You get the vibe. But ever since I was a kid, there's been this weird story about the street. Every 21 years, a kid goes missing. One kid, always between the ages of 10 and 12. Always from our street. No one ever finds them. No evidence, no clues. Nothing. Just gone. At first, it sounds like an urban legend. Like those creepy chain emails you got back in the early 2000s. Forward this to 10 friends, or Bloody Mary will appear in your mirror, type of thing. My older cousin used to tell me the story when I was a kid, and I always thought it was just to scare me. But it's not a joke. I started looking into it last year. Not for fun, not for views, just because I got curious. The story always stuck with me. And when I turned 21 last August, I realized something. It had been exactly 21 years since the last kid vanished. Her name was Sarah Reyes. She lived 4 houses down from me. I was only a baby when it happened, but my mom still remembers it like it was yesterday. Said Sarah was playing outside around dusk, riding her pink scooter, and never came home for dinner. They found the scooter in her driveway. That's it. No footprints, no struggle, no sign of anything. The cops searched everywhere, the woods nearby, the storm drains, even drained the pond in Marius Park. Nothing. After a month, they stopped looking, and people just kind of moved on until now. So flash forward to 2024. I'm 21, out of school, working part-time at a 7-Eleven, still living at home while I figure things out. Don't judge me. I'm into tech stuff, not a hacker or anything, but I've always liked messing around with software, getting into places I probably shouldn't. I heard about the dark web, mostly from Reddit and creepy YouTube videos, and one night I decided to check it out, just for fun, just to see. I downloaded Tor, got a VPN, all that stuff. Found some forums, some marketplaces, some disturbing shouty, way worse than I expected. But one night, I found a thread called The Copper Birch Lane Lottery. My stomach dropped. That's my street. The post was simple, just a few lines. They don't even know they're part of it. Every 21 years, the rules repeat. Payment accepted in innocence. Surveillance required. Lottery ongoing. Copper Birch Lane selected again. It was posted by a user called 21 Eyes. I clicked on their profile. Nothing there. No posts. No info. Just a black background and a gif of an eye slowly blinking. I scrolled down, and there were replies. Actual replies. People saying things like, watching closely. I remember the 1983 one. The best harvest was in 62. And, get this one's already marked. I didn't understand what I was reading. Harvest, watching, marked. So I did what anyone would do. I screen recorded it and showed it to my friend Connor. Connor's one of those no-filter types who thinks everything is fake or a government op. But even he looked freaked out. Bro, that's your street. That's your actual fucking street, he kept saying. What does it mean this one's already marked? Like, a kid on your block is next. That night, I couldn't sleep. I started watching all the Ring camera footage I could find from neighbors' public profiles. You'd be surprised how many people keep their camera feeds online without locking them. It's stupid, honestly. But at around 2:47 a.m., on footage from the Johnson's Ring cam, I saw something. A dark figure, like a person, but too tall, wearing what looked like a black hood or cloak, standing perfectly still in the middle of the cul-de-sac. No car, no dog, no movement. Just standing there for 17 minutes. And then it just walks out of frame. No one else saw it. I asked around the next day, and people laughed it off. You've been watching those creepy TikToks again, my mom said. But then it got worse. The next morning, my neighbor's kid, Jacob, didn't show up for school. He's 11. His mom called the school, called his friends, freaked out when he wasn't in his room. They found the window unlocked, and on the sidewalk in front of their house, someone had drawn a spiral in red chalk, perfectly neat, perfectly scented. No chalk in the house, none in his backpack. Police think he ran away, but I know he didn't. I think Jacob was marked. I've got way more to tell, but this post is already long. I'll drop part 2 tomorrow if you all want it. Trust me, it only gets worse from here. I've got screenshots, links, and even a video clip I wish I'd never downloaded. Something is happening on Copper Birch Lane, and I think I might be next. When you see a missing kid poster, you assume the worst. Maybe they got grabbed by some creeper in a white van. Maybe they ran away. You tell yourself it's sad. You feel bad for a second, but you go on with your day. McDonald's drive-thru, Spotify playlists, TikTok scrolling. It's just another thing in the background. But when you see it happening, when it's a kid you know from your street, and you know for a fact it wasn't a van, it wasn't some tragic accident, and no one is doing anything about it, you start to understand what real fear feels like. The kind that makes you feel like something's watching you, even in your own bedroom, even in daylight. Jacob was just gone. I didn't even know him that well. Just one of those neighborhood kids you nod at while taking out the trash. But after he vanished, everything got weird. Office. Like the whole street was under some invisible fog. And then the emails started. They came from a domain that didn't exist. At sistereyes.red. No subject line, just a single attachment. First one was a JPEG titled, "He is seen." I shouldn't have opened it. I should have reported it or deleted it, but I didn't. It was a picture of Jacob standing in what looked like a concrete room. The walls were rough, no windows, just one light bulb hanging over his head. His eyes were wide open, like he hadn't slept in days. But that wasn't the worst part. His mouth was sewn shut, like actually sewn. Black thread through skin, tight, precise. A single drop of blood hanging off the bottom stitch like it had just been finished. He was holding a piece of cardboard that said, "Copper Birch, 2024, cycle active, harvest 1 secured." I almost threw up. I ran to my mom's room, babbling about Jacob, about the picture. She thought I was having a panic attack. I showed her the photo. Gone. Just static. White noise. Like the file deleted itself after I opened it. So, I did what I always do when I don't know where else to go. I went back to the dark web. That forum was still there, still active, but now there were threads about me. Local observer identified. User, Tweakbacksy, has access registry. Harvest 2 potential. Observe closely. He's seen the image. He knows the spiral. Me. They were talking about me. And they knew my username, which was only ever connected through my VPN. No social links. Nothing traceable. But then one post stopped me cold. It was from 21 Eyes again. He looks like the 2003 Cycle 1. Same hair. Same nose structure. Could be the sibling. And that's when everything snapped into focus. The kid who went missing in 2003. That girl, Sarah Reyes. I dug through old news archives and local police logs and found something that chilled me. Her family moved a year after she vanished. Just disappeared off the grid. New names, no social records, no digital footprint. That kind of erasure doesn't just happen unless someone's helping. And I remembered my mom's face when I mentioned Sarah to her a few years back. She changed the subject, told me not to go digging, told me people don't just disappear, that sometimes bad kids run away. But Sarah didn't run. Jacob didn't either. They were taken. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my room, phone in one hand, pepper spray in the other, even though I knew that wouldn't do shut against whatever this was. At around 3:12 a.m., the streetlights outside went dark. All of them. The entire cul-de-sac dropped into pitch black, like someone had unplugged the sky. And then I saw it, from my bedroom window, across the street, standing exactly where Jacob had been last seen. A figure, same one from the ring cam, too tall, wrong proportions, arms longer than they should be, cloak dragging on the asphalt, just standing there, watching. I wanted to film it, wanted to have proof, but my phone refused to open the camera. Battery dropped from 72% to 1% instantly, like something was sucking the power from it. Then it moved, not fast, not like a jump scare, slow, controlled, walking toward my house. I ran. I locked every door, every window, hid in the laundry room with a baseball bat, like that was gonna protect me. It didn't knock. It didn't try to get in. It just stood at the end of my driveway. For 2 hours, I didn't blink once. The next morning, the spiral was there, drawn in the exact center of my driveway, this time in what looked like blood, flies buzzing around it. There was a USB drive sitting in the middle. No note, just the drive. I plugged it in at the public library down the street just in case. What was on it? God. It was a folder labeled Copper Birch Cycle Archives. Inside were videos, each one named after a year: 1962, 1983, 2003, and now 2024. I clicked 2003. I watched a girl, Sarah, tied to a chair, crying, hands shaking. She was in the same windowless room as Jacob, same light bulb, and then a voice, female, soft, sing-songy, like a kindergarten teacher. "Tell me the lie you want to be remembered for, Sarah," she sobbed. "I'm happy. I'm not scared." "Good," the voice said. "That will be your echo." And then the camera panned to the wall, and there were masks, plaster masks, human faces, dozens, each one labeled with a year. Then the screen cut to black, and the last file in the folder, 2024_unfinished.move. I didn't click it. I know how this sounds, like some ORG or fake horror series, but I swear to God, none of this is made up. I still have the USB, and the chalk spiral, still there. My mom said it must have been a prank, but she refuses to touch it, like her brain won't let her acknowledge it. I think this has been going on longer than anyone knows. I think someone, or something, has been choosing streets like this for decades, picking one block, watching the kids, recording everything. Every 21 years, they harvest one, or more. And now it's my turn. I haven't told Connor. I haven't told anyone else. I don't know who I can trust, because today I found something else in my mailbox. No postage, no return address, just a plain envelope. Inside, a Polaroid of me, sleeping, and on the back, "You've seen too much. He comes on the 21st night." Next part will be about what I found under the street. It's not a storm drain. It's not sewers. It's a staircase. And I think it leads to the archive room. You ever feel like something's pulling at you? Like physically dragging your chest towards something you know will break you in half, but you still go anyway? That was me, standing at the edge of the storm drain on Copper Birch Lane, 3 houses down from mine, right next to the rusted mailbox no one's used since 1997. The same mailbox that used to belong to the house of the 1983 missing kid from the old archive footage. The drain looked normal, round grate, overgrown weeds, candy wrappers and cigarette butts wedged in the corners, but something under it. It hummed, low, deep, almost like breathing through teeth. I didn't bring Connor. I didn't want him to see what I knew was waiting down there. I waited until just after 2 a.m. Street was dead silent. Even the air felt still, like the wind was holding its breath. I lifted the grate, and underneath, not pipes, not sewer tunnels, stairs, rust-covered concrete, spiraling down into blackness, carved right into the earth. I shined my flashlight down. The beam just got swallowed, like the dark ate it. But I stepped in anyway, and after the third step, my phone lost all signal. Clock froze at 2:16 a.m. By the time I reached the bottom, I had taken 41 steps. There was a door, not wood, not metal. It was made of skin. I swear to God. Flesh stretched over a square frame, pulsing slightly, veins twitching. And in the middle, where a doorknob should be, was a human eye, open, darting side to side, like it was scanning. I reached for it. It blinked, and the door opened by itself. The room inside was wrong. It wasn't just that it was cold, or smelled like rot, which it did. It was the geometry. The wall sloped inward like the room was leaning. The floor bent at an angle that made walking feel like you were drunk. But what really messed me up? The sounds. Children, not screaming, whispering, dozens of voices, maybe hundreds, murmuring just below the threshold of understanding, like they were buried behind the walls or trapped under the floorboards. Every few seconds, one of them would rise above the rest and say something clear. Don't look at the black glass. He cuts the eyes out first. She made me eat my brother's hand. Please tell my mom I wasn't bad. I couldn't breathe. The room had no furniture, just walls, covered in photos, Polaroids, and long sheets of yellowing paper with handwritten notes in blood-red ink. Each photo was a child, a different child, some smiling, some crying, some with their eyes scratched out, or their mouths stretched into impossible shapes. And underneath each photo was a label. Harvest 1962, name unknown, last words, it smells like dad in here. Harvest 1983, Devin Malks, last words, is this the Tooth Fairy? Harvest 2003, Sarah Reyes, last words, I told the truth, why isn't that enough? Harvest 2024, Jacob Tills, in processing. In processing. Jacob was still alive. Somewhere. I started filming. I had to. Even if my phone didn't work, even if no one would ever see it, I had to record it to prove I wasn't crazy. And then the camera app just froze on a frame. It showed the room, yes, but in the footage, I wasn't alone. Behind me, inches behind me, something tall, thin, draped in stitched together skin. Its face was just a blank porcelain mask, smooth except for a long vertical crack down the middle, dripping something black and slow. Its arms hung lower than its knees, fingers dragging along the ground like they were boneless. I turned. Nothing there. But the whispers stopped, and in their place came a deep, vibrating voice, not from a mouth, from inside my chest. You are not Harvest, you are Catalog. Then the lights above flickered. I hadn't noticed them before, bare bulbs hanging by wires, all swaying now, like the room had started breathing faster. I backed up, fast, slamming into a wall, and the wall gave way behind me. I fell backward, through what felt like paper, and landed in a second room. This one was colder, way colder. There were tanks, giant vertical tubes, each filled with thick red fluid that moved like syrup. and inside each one, a child. Eyes open, floating, limbs curled, mouths open in eternal screams but no sound. Some were rotted halfway, others looked freshly preserved. The tubes were labeled with coordinates and times, like entries in a filing system. Next to each tank was a jar. Inside the jars were pieces, fingers, teeth, chunks of scalp, eyes. They were numbered, organized, like samples. Then I saw a screen, an old CRT monitor, glitching in green and black, a prompt blinking. Catalog entry, 2024-CB-H2. Status, observer becoming. Cycle, overlap. Begin integration, YN. I couldn't even move. The tank in front of me hissed, opened, and the thing inside looked like me. Not me now, me as a child. 10, maybe 11. Wearing the same pajamas I remembered from an old photo my mom kept in her wallet. The child version of me opened his eyes and whispered. I stayed quiet. Why didn't you? I ran. I don't even remember how I got out. The stairs were gone when I turned around. I think I blacked out. I woke up back in my room. No cuts, no bruises, nothing. But I knew it happened, because when I looked at my phone, there was a new app installed. Sister Eyes. It can't be deleted. It's just there. When I open it, it shows me camera feeds of every house on Copper Birch Lane, including mine, including my room. It has night vision, audio, and in one clip, at exactly 4:12 a.m., it shows me sleeping, and then slowly, the door to my closet opens. Nothing comes out, but the shadows inside the closet begin to move, like they're breathing. And now, every time I walk past a mirror, I catch a glimpse of something standing behind me. Just a flash, just long enough to know it's there. The same figure with the mask, watching, waiting. I think it's cataloging me, piece by piece, memory by memory. And I think I'm being duplicated, not abducted, not harvested, replaced. Part 4 is next. It's about the black van that parks in front of my house every night now, the one with no driver, and the note I found under my pillow this morning. You're scheduled for integration. Don't scream. They're listening. If you still believe this is just a story, go look in your closet. See if it's breathing. The first time I saw the black van, I thought it was a delivery truck. Plain, no logos, no plates. Just one of those matte black utility vans you see behind shopping malls or parked in alleys near abandoned buildings. The kind that you look at once and immediately forget. But that's the trick, isn't it? That van has been parked in front of my house every night for the last 6 nights. Always at 2:17 a.m. Always facing my window. Always empty. No engine sounds. No headlights. It just appears, like it gets whispered into existence. And that would have been weird enough on its own. But on the second night, the back door was slightly open, and I swear to God, I saw something crawl out of it. It wasn't walking. It didn't move like a person. It was dragging itself across the pavement, using its arms like broken legs. The skin looked loose, like it was wearing a human body that didn't quite fit. It slid across the road and vanished behind the hedge next door. My neighbor's dog started barking, but only once. One bark, then silence. The next morning, that same dog was found skinned, not cut open, not clawed, not bitten, skinned, like a clean professional peel, like its fur was unzipped and folded into a neat pile beside it. Animal control said it was a coyote, but coyotes don't leave skin behind like a costume. That same day, I found a note under my pillow. I didn't put it there. I hadn't moved. I didn't even sleep. The note was handwritten in what looked like charcoal dust. Letters shaky, but deliberate. One sentence. You're already copied. We're just waiting for the rest of your skin. I read it 20 times. My brain refused to accept it. I scratched at my own arms, ran my fingers across my chest, my neck. Everything felt real, but wrong. Like my skin didn't belong to me anymore. Like it was rented. And then I remembered the face in the tank, the child version of me, whispering from behind the glass. You stayed quiet. Why didn't you? I checked the dark web again that night. The Copper Birch Lane lottery thread was gone, but a new forum had popped up. Different name. The Father's Harvest. And the first post was just a countdown. 4 days until Peel. Status. Observer. Awakening integrity level. 61%. Organic retention. Acceptable losses. And beneath it was a video. No title. Just blackness. I clicked play. It was footage of me, sleeping, from inside my room, from inside the closet. You could see the back of my head, breathing slow. Then, something stepped out of the dark behind me. It was me, but taller, elongated, skin too pale, eyes glowing the color of gasoline on water, mouth slightly open like it was learning how to smile. Then it leaned close to my ear and whispered, "Let go." The van was back that night. Same time. This time, the door was wide open. I grabbed my phone, started filming, needed proof. But when I looked through the screen, it didn't show the van. Nothing. The camera saw empty street, but I could see the van with my eyes. I stepped outside. The air smelled like burnt pennies and old milk. And when I got to the van, the engine was still off. It was completely silent. Inside were walls lined with meat. I'm not being dramatic. It was slabs of skin nailed into place like wallpaper. Each piece had tattoos, birthmarks, freckles. Some even had names carved into them. One said Jacob Tills. One said Sarah Reyes. And another, freshly pinned to the ceiling of the van, said, Tweakback Z, Daniel, Observer 0012-A. My name, my online tag, all of it. I touched it. It was warm. And then the voice came again. Not outside, not in my head, from under the skin. We wore your mother first. I blacked out. I woke up in my backyard, mouth full of dirt. No memory of crawling there. No blood. But my wrists were red, raw, like I'd been tied. I looked up. The spiral was burned into my lawn, charred black. This time, not chalk, not blood, branded. And in the center of it was a new USB drive, black, melting around the edges like it had been pulled out of fire. I plugged it into the school's library computer the next day, shaking so bad I could barely move the mouse. It had only one file, Daniel's extraction.move. I opened it. The video showed a white room, featureless, cold, like an operating room that forgot to be clean. In the middle, a surgical chair. Strapped into it was me, fully awake, eyes wide open, no mouth. It had been removed, just a flat sheet of stretched skin where my lips should have been. Tubes ran into my body, through my arms, my legs. One was pumping something in. The other was slowly draining a black, viscous fluid out. And standing next to me were figures in masks, each wearing a different face. Not like disguises, not like Halloween masks. These were actual human faces, draped over their heads like veils. The mouths of the masks hung open. Some smiled, some drooped, and behind them, in the shadows, was the thing, the tall, cloaked figure, the one from the stairs, the one from the closet, now closer, now clear. Its face was a mirror, not metaphorically, an actual mirror, reflecting my terrified face back at me, but smiling, and it whispered, in a voice layered with thousands of children's screams, "Integration successful. Shell is unaware." Then the screen glitched, and I swear I heard my own voice in the distortion, repeating, "Please, let me stay me." Since then, I've been hearing things in the walls, tapping, gurgling, voices, my own voice, practicing phrases. "Hey Mom, I'm fine. Nothing weird's going on. I think I'll stay home tonight." Over and over, like it's learning me. Tonight's the night, the 21st night. The countdown ends. There's a hole behind my closet now. I didn't dig it. The drywall crumbled away this morning. And behind it, another staircase. Smaller, tighter, made of bone. And there's light at the bottom. Not warm light, not yellow, blue. Like a morgue freezer cracked open. And a smell is leaking up. Not rot, not mold. It smells like my breath. I think they're almost done copying me. I think I'm just extra skin now. Just a case. Just packaging. If you see me on TikTok, posting weird videos that don't feel right. If I text you something that sounds robotic or off, it's not me. It's what they made. It'll be the final one. If I'm still me long enough to write it. And if I'm not, don't answer the knock at your door at 2:17 a.m. because it will sound like me. It will smile like me. But its face will still be wet unless my copy posts it first. I didn't fall asleep last night. I didn't even close my eyes. I couldn't because something was breathing through the drywall, not behind it, inside it. Slow, deep, deliberate inhalations, like the house itself had lungs now. It stopped every few minutes, just long enough to let me believe it was done, then started again. The spiral on my lawn is no longer burned in. It's sunk into the ground, an open wound, and at the center of it now is a hole, perfectly round, not jagged. No dirt displaced around the edge, like the ground simply gave up and opened its mouth. It's been whispering to me, not loudly, just enough to let the syllables slide in while I'm blinking. You are always disposable, but we like your voice. At 2:17 a.m., the knock came. 3 slow knocks, no doorbell, no voice, just the same rhythm every time, like it had practiced. I didn't answer it, not the first time, not the second, but on the third knock, my phone buzzed. New message from my own number. "Come outside, Daniel. They don't want you to miss your own skinning." Attached was a picture of my mom, tied to a chair, mouth sewn shut, eyes replaced with black buttons, literally stitched in. She was in our garage. I recognized the wallpaper. I recognized the Christmas box behind her. She was in there, 20 feet away. I ran. No shoes, no plan, no thought. I tore through the house, threw open the garage door. Empty. But in the middle of the floor was her face. Not a mask, not makeup. Her literal face, peeled and pressed flat like someone ironed it. Eyes still twitching in the sockets, lips flexing slightly as if they wanted to speak. It wasn't attached to her anymore because she was standing behind me, or rather, something wearing her. It moved like it had never been inside a body before. Head tilted too far, fingers stretching wide like it wanted to split them into more fingers. It didn't speak. It just smiled with her mouth. And then it walked into the spiral, vanished into the hole, and I followed it. The descent wasn't like the stairs before. These weren't stairs. They were teeth. Dozens of rows, flattened, smeared with blood and black moss, groaning as I stepped on them. Each one clicked shut behind me the moment my foot passed it, and the deeper I went, the more familiar it smelled, like warm breath, like rotting flowers, like childhood. At the bottom was a room, no lights, but everything glowed slightly, like a dream you can't wake up from. And in the center was me, laying on a table, mouth gone, arms detached, eyes missing, but alive, chest rising, skin twitching like it didn't fit anymore. Surrounding the table were mirrors, floor to ceiling, every one reflecting different versions of me. One was smiling with no teeth. One was missing its skin entirely, muscles flexing over red tissue. One had Jacob's face. One was already me, exactly as I was, watching me back with wide, wet eyes. And one was just a dark silhouette, slowly pulling my face on over its own. I screamed, or tried to. No sound came out, because in the mirror closest to me, my reflection turned and shushed me. Then came the final file, not on a USB, not on my phone. It was being projected on the walls, like my mind was a theater and someone else was running the film. Peel number 132, Copper Birch Lane, final echo. The video began with home footage from my childhood, me playing in the backyard, my mom filming. Then it cut to footage of me, now, walking into the hole, descending, crying, whispering to myself. Then it cut to footage that hasn't happened yet. Me on my bed, smiling. Me making TikToks, dancing. Me texting friends saying, I'm fine. Me going to work. Me laughing. But my eyes were off. The smile didn't reach them. And as the footage continued, my skin started to crack, bit by bit, flakes falling off, revealing the thing underneath. Pale, wet, trembling. Copy complete. I turned to run. Too late. The walls fell away. The table rose. The mirrors shattered inward, glass slicing me across the face, the arms, the legs, and I felt it crawl into me. Not physically, spiritually, like it was vacuuming out everything that made me Daniel and stuffing the skin with something else. A voice, my voice, whispered in my own head, You're not going to survive this, but your smile will. And I felt my own mouth start to move, without my permission, into a grin, so wide it split the corners, so tight it hurt my bones, so wrong it bent my spine. And from the shadows, they clapped. They all clapped. Hundreds of skinwalkers, mask wearers, mirrored-faced children with button eyes and sewn mouths, all standing in unison, applauding the performance. I woke up in my bed, light outside, birds chirping, phone full of, "Are you okay?" texts, notifications from Instagram, my mom cooking breakfast downstairs. Normal. Too normal. I looked in the mirror. I smiled. It smiled back. But it was a second too late. If you're reading this, don't talk to me. Don't message me. Don't wave at me from across the street, because it's not me anymore. I think I'm still in here, somewhere, trapped in the layers, watching. But whatever's driving this body now knows how to fake me, and it's perfecting the act. Every 21 years, a kid on our street disappears. But what no one tells you is, they don't stay gone. They come back, smiling, familiar, empty. So if you ever see me walking toward you, looking happy, looking calm, looking like I finally figured my life out, run, because I didn't survive the final peel, but something else did, and it's wearing me like a costume, and it wants you next. This post uploaded by Tweakbacks, 1:17 a.m., July 2nd. Activity ends after this cycle. No further entries expected. I found a chat room on the dark web full of people discussing my daily routine. I don't know any of them. Alright, so before I even get into this, I just want to say I know how this sounds. Trust me, if I heard someone else say what I'm about to tell you, I'd probably laugh and think they were trying to write some twisted Netflix pitch. But this happened to me, and it hasn't stopped. Let me back up a little. My name's Jake. I'm 19, live in Toronto, Canada. Pretty normal life. Go to college, work part-time at Starbucks. Yeah, I know. Live in a small apartment above this old pizza shop with my roommate Zach. He's chill. We mostly hang out, game, and binge YouTube until we pass out. Pretty much your average broke college student story. So about 3 weeks ago, it was a Friday night. We were both off work, had some snacks, and decided to go full gremlin mode. Pull an all-nighter, order pizza, and dive deep into the weird side of the internet. You know, just for fun. We'd done it before. Watched creepy TikToks, those animated horror stories on YouTube, like Here's My Story, stuff like that. But this night, we went deeper. Zach had this old USB someone gave him years ago at a party. Sketchy looking thing, no label, just a black drive with a red sticker that said /entry. Like, what does that even mean? Anyway, we plugged it in just to see what was on it. Inside was a single folder named .sleepless, and inside that, an HTML file called nightowl.chat. I swear to you, it was like stepping into a haunted AEM chat room. The interface was super basic. Black background, white pixelated text, blinking green cursor. But it was active, like really active. A bunch of users were already online, chatting in what looked like a public forum. Nothing seemed too creepy at first. Just people using aliases like Void Eater, Chromos27, Sleep with One Eye, etc. Kind of like usernames from some weird ARG subreddit. We were reading through, mostly laughing at the edgy names, when something caught my eye. One user, Red Gloss Room, posted this, 8:32 p.m. He's in his room now, lights off, still eating those sour cream chips. One screen on YouTube, other on Discord. He doesn't even know. I don't know why it freaked me out right away, but it did. I glanced over at Zach, and he was doing exactly that. Bag of sour cream chips on his lap. YouTube video on the main monitor. Discord open on the second. I laughed nervously and showed him. He smirked. That's creepy, but like, probably a lucky guess, bro. We're not that original. Yeah, okay, fine. Maybe someone got lucky. Or maybe they were just describing themselves and we were just paranoid. But then another post popped up. 8:34 p.m. Jake just looked at the screen. He's wearing the Toronto Raptors hoodie. Lights still flickering from the hallway bulb. I was wearing that hoodie. Our hallway bulb was flickering. It had been for days. Landlord wouldn't fix it. I froze. Zach went quiet too. Dude. What? We tried refreshing the page. The posts were still there. More were being added, casually. Like people were just watching, commenting, about us. Even about stuff we hadn't done yet. Another user, Cicada Lung, said, "Watch him get up and check the door now." 3, 2. I kid you not. I stood up without thinking. Just muscle memory. We always checked the door when we were spooked. I grabbed the doorknob. Told you. That was the next message. I slammed the laptop shut. Nah, bro, that's not funny. Zach agreed. Yeah, we're done. We thought it was just a creepy site messing with people. Maybe using a webcam exploit or something. So we did what normal people do. We unplugged everything, turned off the Wi-Fi, even put tape over the webcams like paranoid boomers. But I couldn't sleep that night. And it didn't stop there. The next morning, I checked my phone while walking to work, just scrolling through TikTok. Nothing serious. That's when I saw a comment under a random meme video from an account with no profile pic, just the username, "He wears black to sleep." The comment said, "Starbucks on Queen Street, 9:42 a.m., tall iced Americano, no lid, extra ice. He'll forget his straw again." That's exactly what I ordered that morning. I froze mid-step, looked around me. No one was staring, no cameras, just the street, the noise, normal people living their lives. I got to work, tried to shake it off. Maybe someone was trolling. Maybe Zach was messing with me. But I didn't tell anyone about the site. Not even my other friends. Not even on Discord. Still, the messages kept popping up. On Instagram, Twitter. Hell, I even saw a comment on a Twitch stream from some random bot account saying, "He's still pretending nothing's happening." I didn't sleep much that week. Even stopped going to school for a few days. Every time I moved, opened my fridge, brushed my teeth, somewhere online, someone was watching, waiting for me to do it, predicting it before I did. Zach eventually confronted me about it, said I was being weird, said I looked pale, tired, paranoid. I didn't even want to tell him how deep it was getting, but I had to show someone. So we went back to the USB, back to the site. But this time, we couldn't access it. The HTML file was gone, just gone. The whole USB wiped itself. No recovery, nothing in recycle bin. I didn't even know that was possible. We thought maybe we dodged a bullet, but it wasn't over. Not even close. 2 nights ago, something new happened. I was in bed, scrolling Reddit like always, when I got a direct message from an account with no history, no posts, just a plain black profile. Message said, "They're voting on you now. Don't sleep." I didn't, because I swear to God, I heard someone knock on my window, and I live on the 3rd floor. Trust me, this story gets way darker. I'm not even safe anymore. If you're reading this, just don't go looking for nightowl.chat. If it still exists, you won't like what you find. Okay, so after I posted part 1, I got bombed with messages. Some people thought I was trolling. Some thought it was some elaborate horror, ARG. Others actually believed me. And to those people, I just want to say, you should be scared, because I thought I was done too. I thought the USB wiping itself meant whatever this thing was, it was over. It wasn't. It was only the intro. Let me tell you what happened after the knock on my 3rd floor window. This part's gonna be long, because I need you to understand. Not just the fear, but the cold, deliberate cruelty behind all of this. There's no other way to describe it but psychopathic. That night. So, yeah, the knock. It came at 3:17 a.m. I remember that because my phone lit up at the exact moment, and a notification popped up from an app I never installed. The app was just a red icon, no name. When I clicked it, the screen went black, and a voice, not text, a real human voice, whispered, "Don't open the curtains too fast. He doesn't like being seen." I dropped the phone immediately, and I don't say that lightly. I've seen messed up videos online, gore threads. I've been through creepy Reddit rabbit holes. But this felt real. I wasn't watching something. I was in it. Like the world had shifted just enough to reveal something behind the curtain we were never meant to see. And then came the second knock. Louder, deliberate. I didn't open the curtain. I just stood there, frozen in my room, holding my breath like if I exhaled too loud, he'd know I was still awake. Then came the scraping sound, like fingernails on glass. slow and steady, right across my window. Just a long, slow drag. The most inhuman patience in that movement. He wanted me to hear it. He wanted me to know. He had time. The scraping stopped, and I swear, I heard breathing right outside the window. I couldn't sleep. I just curled up in bed, lights on, every curtain closed, music playing softly on my phone, like that would protect me. I didn't check the window until the sun came up. When I did, there were handprints, upside down handprints, bare skin, long fingers, a streak of blood smeared down the middle. That same day, the app disappeared from my phone. Vanished. No trace of it in settings. Nothing on my iCloud history. But the damage was done. I wasn't safe anymore. My life wasn't mine anymore. The live stream. A few nights later, I was doom scrolling, trying to distract myself. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Ended up on a random subreddit, r/deep web experiences, which I barely followed. Someone posted a link to a stream. Live now, red glass room. Only 99 viewers allowed. 99 viewers. That number stuck with me. I hesitated, but curiosity, it always kills. I clicked it. The page was minimal. Red background, a single black frame showing a dimly lit room, bare walls, red hue, and in the center, a chair facing away from the camera. Empty. But what made my blood run cold were the chat messages on the side of the stream, usernames, and they were talking about me. Real names, real moments from that very day. One user, Organ Snail 98, posted, "He puked in the Starbucks bathroom after the knock. Guess he can't handle the selection process." Someone else said, "He should be honored. Room 7 hasn't picked a live one in over 3 years." I wanted to close the tab. I really did. But I couldn't move. The stream continued, and slowly, the chair in the middle of the screen turned. On its own, like someone behind it was slowly rotating it. And when it faced the camera, there was someone in the chair. It was me. Same Raptors hoodie, same socks, same half-broken wristband I always wear. But my face was just blank. No mouth, no eyes, just smooth skin, like someone erased it. And then one of the chat users typed, "Would you like to join the red glass room, Jake? Type YES to accept. Type NO to be selected anyway." I slammed the laptop shut and unplugged everything. I couldn't stop shaking. I couldn't breathe. I felt like my mind was being carved out. But it didn't stop there. The next day, my friends started getting weird texts. Zach told me he got a message from an unknown number, no profile pic, just the words, "You're next." My ex, Carly, DM'd me, asking why I sent her a picture of her sleeping. I hadn't. I never had access to her house. But the picture was real. Her, in bed, mouth slightly open, eyes shut. Timestamp, from 2:41 a.m. The curtains in the photo were just barely open. And then she said the scariest part. She lived on the 4th floor. The selection process. I'm telling you this now because something happened last weekend that I can't explain without sounding insane. But I need to get this out before they wipe my digital footprint. On Saturday, I woke up with a paper wristband around my arm. You know, like the kind they give you at concerts or hospitals. Red. No text. Just a barcode. I hadn't left the apartment. I locked my doors. I checked the windows. Zach didn't see anything. I scanned the barcode using a random QR reader. It led to a private server hosted through some sketchy site that mimicked Discord, but it wasn't Discord. The server was titled Red Glass Room, Live Feed, Unit 7. There were 98 users inside, the same usernames from before. There was a pinned message from Red Glass Room. Jake is now inside. Do not speak to him directly. He can't see you yet, but you can watch him. It was like being inside my own mind. There were folders named after rooms. Room 1, Room 2, all the way up to Room 13. I clicked on Room 7 and instantly regretted it. Inside was a live security feed. It was my apartment, not just my room. Every angle, even under my bed. Another feed showed a bathroom stall, the one from the Starbucks I work at. And one more, this one scarred me permanently, was a live feed of my mom's living room. I hadn't even visited her in months, but there she was, on the couch, watching TV. It rewrites the world around you, like you never existed. The return of Night Owl Chat. Remember that HTML file on the sketchy USB from the beginning? It came back. No, seriously. I woke up 2 nights ago and saw the exact same folder structure on my laptop. The folder .sleepless was back, except this time it wasn't on the USB. It was on my desktop. No way that should even be possible. That drive had been destroyed. I even smashed it with a hammer. But there it was, sitting there like it never left. Inside was a new file, not nightowl.chat.html. This time it was, you are now streamable.html. I shouldn't have clicked it, but I did. The browser opened without loading anything, just a white page with one line. You've been approved for your stream. Countdown begins now. Then my screen glitched, like full-on flickering, like my graphics card was melting. It turned black, and then my webcam turned on. I didn't even have it plugged in. I use an external Logitech, and I yanked it out after everything started happening. But I saw that little green light flash on like a dying firefly, and then my face, on screen, streaming, to them. The chat window opened itself, and it was filled, not with viewers, but with bidders. Usernames with tags like FleshBroker13, Memory Harvest, X, user number 31,498/raw mode, enabled God mode : spectator, and they weren't chatting. They were bidding, like an auction, for me. One user typed, I want his eyes. He's a night reader. Another, number. I want the twitch reflex. Right hand, index finger. Loop the nerve. Send it to room 4 for duplication. The worst part, there was no emotion, no thrill, no, haha, this is creepy energy. Just cold, clinical harvesting, like I was a catalog item. Then one message popped up, all red text, glitching slightly like a corrupted file. You are now streamable. Do not break character. We're watching from inside now. The mirrored house. That same night, I blacked out. Not passed out. Blacked out. As in, one moment, I was screaming at my laptop, and the next, I was in a different house. Woke up on a mattress in the middle of a hallway I'd never seen before. No windows. All white walls, but not clean white. Stained, like someone dragged something wet and heavy across them. Some of the stains were handprints, but way too small to be adult hands, like kids, or malformed something else's. I got up, confused, heart pounding. My phone was dead. My shoes were missing. Only thing I had on me was a mirror shard the size of my palm, tucked into the front pocket of my hoodie. Not a knife. A mirror shard. As I moved through the house, I noticed it didn't follow normal architecture. It was like someone built it in a loop. No matter how many doors I opened, I kept ending up back in the same hallway, the same red light bulb flickering at the end. And then I saw it. A television, boxy and old, sitting on a stool in the middle of one of the empty rooms. It turned on as I entered. No static, just my face, sleeping, in real time. From an overhead angle, the chat box reappeared, on the screen, not on the wall, but on the TV itself. How does he dream so clearly? Let's extract room 7 visuals. Mirror, please. Let him see it. And then the wall to my left peeled open, like paper, and behind it was a one-way mirror. I looked into it, expecting to see my reflection, but I saw my bed, in my apartment, except I wasn't there. Someone else was lying in it. Same body type, same clothes, but his face was blank, just like in the red glass room stream. No mouth, no nose, no eyes, and yet, he smiled. I turned to run, and collided with something soft. It was a bag, a body bag, zipped halfway, with Zach's hoodie inside, not folded, not laid, just stuffed, like meat into a sack. I lost it, vomited right there, stomach twisting in ways it never had before. But when I looked down, it wasn't vomit. It was black liquid, like oil, thick and bubbling, and floating in it, teeth, not mine. The walls have faces. Now I made it out, or at least I think I did. I woke up in my apartment again, on the floor, laptop open, stream gone, nothing in browser history, but there was one tab still active, just a still image of me, sitting on the stool in that house, staring at the camera, except this version of me was missing his eyelids. They had been sliced off, and someone had written under the image in red text, "Keep watching, or he will." The walls in my apartment now make sounds. At night, low creaking, whispering. Sometimes I see bumps moving under the drywall. I called a contractor. He checked, said there was nothing behind the walls. But sometimes, when I walk past the hallway mirror, I see faces, not mine, not anyone I know, but blurry human faces pressed up against the glass, like they're trying to break through. The file in my eye. Okay, I know this sounds crazy. I know, but I swear, I think they put something inside me. A week ago, I noticed my right eye felt heavier, achy, not like an infection, more like a glitch. Colors would invert sometimes. Red would flash blue. Faces on social media would blur for half a second. TikTok filters wouldn't track me anymore. So I went to a clinic, told them my eye was sore. They did a scan. The nurse went pale, told me to wait. Then they locked the room. Another doctor came in. No smile. Just stared at the screen and asked, "Do you have any cybernetic implants?" I laughed. He didn't. He showed me the scan. There was a microchip behind my eye, embedded into the optic nerve. No record of surgery, no entry wound. Just there, like it had always been. They referred me to a specialist. I never made it to the appointment, because the night before, the screen of my phone glitched into full white and displayed, "You are now streamable. The eye is not yours." If you're still reading this, I need you to listen very carefully. Your devices aren't safe. The mirror isn't safe. And if you see your reflection smile before you do, it's already too late. Don't try to track them. Don't try to understand. Because the red glass room isn't a place. It's a protocol. And I think I'm just the pilot episode. I haven't spoken to another human face to face in 4 days. Not out of fear. Not even by choice. It's because I physically can't anymore. When I walk down the street now, I swear to you, people don't see me. Not like they ignore me. No. I mean they actually can't see me. I waved at a barista the other morning. Starbucks, downtown Toronto. The one with the always broken outlet by the corner window. And she stared right through me. Didn't blink. Didn't flinch. Just went on wiping a clean countertop over and over until the rag left a pinkish smear that looked an awful lot like blood. This started 3 days after the chip was discovered in my eye. I never got the surgery. I never even made it home. The memory farm. That night, after the specialist visit got cancelled, which wasn't just a normal cancellation, the entire building had vanished off Google Maps overnight. I was walking past Union Station when someone bumped into me. Except they didn't just bump. They stopped. A woman, dressed like she worked corporate. Black suit, red tie, gray heels, eyes that were too dark, like someone had removed the whites and just left wet pits in their place. And she whispered as she walked past me, "He's leaking. Get room 11 ready." I turned around, ready to ask what the hell that meant, but she was gone, and so was everyone else. No cars, no pedestrians, just this filter, like the city was running on 20% power. No sound, no birds, no wind, just a distant hum, like a microwave was running inside my skull. I took out my phone. It wouldn't unlock. Not wrong passcode or dead battery. I mean, it refused to recognize my fingerprint. Kept scanning it and rejecting it over and over. Then the screen flickered and displayed something new. Harvest update complete. You are no longer a public version. I didn't understand it then, but I do now. I don't think I'm a person anymore. I think I'm a version. The streaming chair. That night I made it back to my apartment, barely. Every streetlight flickered when I passed beneath it. My shadow bent in directions it shouldn't. I don't mean stretched. I mean it turned corners, curved away from my body, like a hand reaching into nearby alleyways. I opened my apartment door and found the chair. You know which one. The red glass room chair. The one from the stream. Sitting dead center in my living room. My carpet. Gone. Replaced with black tile. The same tile from the red glass room stream floor. And taped to the back of the chair, there was a note. A crumpled, wet piece of printer paper. It read, "If you sit, we'll let your family go." My mouth went dry. They knew. I FaceTimed my mom right then and there. She picked up, smiling, holding Leonard the cat, same background as always. But something was off. She wasn't blinking. Not once. Her face moved like it was being animated, like old school deepfakes. Her hand petting Leonard looped exactly every 4 seconds. I timed it. 4 seconds. Over and over. I whispered, "Mom, blink if you're real." She smiled wider and said, "You shouldn't have accessed room 7, Jake. They're still inside your head." The call ended. The black room. Around 2:03 a.m. that night, I caved. I sat in the chair. The moment my weight touched it, the world glitched. And I'm not using that word lightly. I mean visual tearing, screen flickers, the feeling of reality folding like a broken .zip file. My walls turned to code, actual lines of red script running vertically like digital blood. And then everything turned black. I don't mean lights out. I mean colorless, soulless void. I felt my body being dragged backward without moving. The kind of motion that doesn't happen in dreams or VR. The kind that feels internal, like something was yanking your consciousness by the root. Then, I was in the black room. It wasn't empty. It was full. Not with people. With versions. Dozens, maybe hundreds of me. Slightly off. One was missing ears. Another blinked sideways like a reptile. One stood facing the corner, covered in handwritten notes from neck to ankles, pages stapled into his flesh, like skin tags. One version stepped forward. It had no skin at all, Just meat, twitching, pulsing. Its eyes glowed orange. It smiled with someone else's mouth and said, "This is where your memories are processed. Each copy lives one until it breaks. Then we overwrite and redistribute." I asked what that meant. He pointed behind me. I turned and saw a door made of fingernails. Human, cracked, dirty, some still with nail polish. Carved into the center was one sentence: "Once viewed, cannot be undone." I opened it. The archive inside, it wasn't a room. It was a corridor of screens. Hundreds of CRT monitors stacked from floor to ceiling, buzzing with static. On every screen, my life. Not just memories, variations, lives I could have lived. One screen showed me overdosing in a college dorm. Another, me working at a McDonald's in Florida, beaten to death with a drive-through headset by a customer for getting the order wrong. Another version showed me with Zach, except this version had no mouth and communicated through notes. He wrote, "They made me eat my own username." One screen, worse than all the rest, showed me smiling in the red glass room, a wide, painful grin, and something behind me, not human, with hundreds of fingers gently resting on my shoulders like a parent posing a child for school pictures. And then every screen went blank. A new message appeared across all of them. Harvest mode enabled. Memory farm open to public. The live stream that shouldn't exist. I woke up on my couch, lights off, no phone in sight. Everything smelled like static and wet metal. I turned on my laptop. There was only one tab open. YouTube, a stream, live, but it wasn't on my channel. It wasn't even on a normal URL. It was /@streamable harvest unit 7, and the thumbnail, me, sleeping. But I wasn't asleep. I was watching myself watch myself. The comments flooded in. "He's catching on. I want the jaw. Look how clean it is. Does anyone else hear the ticking? Can we keep this one lucid? It's more fun." The stream had 2.4 million viewers. No like button, no chat box, just commands. And underneath, a single red progress bar. Uploading 94%. I shut the laptop, but the sound didn't stop. Ticking, like a grandfather clock, inside the walls. The drywall cracked, and the mirror in my hallway shattered. Something walked out of it, not through it, out of it, like it had been inside, folded into the reflection. It had my voice, and said, "You're streamable now. They'll never log out. They don't have to. You're forever content. If you see a mirror crack, if your screen flashes red for just a second, if a stranger whispers about a room number, don't sit down. Because once you do, you're not a person anymore. You're a stream. You remember how this started, right? Me, just a regular guy, stumbling across a USB, opening a stupid little HTML file that led to a chat room full of people talking about my life in real time. You remember how strange that was? That was the first cut, the first incision, the first slice of the scalpel they dragged across my life like I was nothing more than meat being prepared. I was never the main character in this story. I was the test subject. The night I was deleted, let me start by telling you what I know now. There's no red glass room server anymore, because I am the server now. Every second I breathe, every blink, every move, every subconscious twitch, I stream, constantly, not over the normal web, not even the deep web, but through them, the viewers, the harvesters, the architects, whatever you want to call them. I see them now, not with my eyes, with something else. A second sight, like a back room in my brain, has been unlocked and the door left permanently open. They're not human, but they remember how to wear humans. They walk through public like coat hangers draped in skin. They ride the bus. They work cash registers. Some even run small Twitch channels. One of them runs a McDonald's drive-thru near my campus. Always gives you exactly 13 fries too many. You don't realize it, but that's part of the scanning process. A ritual. Every interaction is just data collection for the next harvest update. You're not being watched. You're being uploaded. The Hall of Flesh screens. Last night, they took me again. And this time, it wasn't metaphorical. I didn't black out. I didn't hallucinate. They came for me physically. It started with the walls bleeding. Yes, bleeding. Not paint. Not mold. Real blood pouring from the corners of the ceiling like slow, sticky rain. My apartment started smelling like iron and rot, the kind of scent that makes you gag before you even know what it is. My laptop turned on by itself. A single message. We are ready to finalize the stream. The audience demands a finale. I tried to leave. The hallway of my building folded, literally folded like paper, bending at impossible angles, the floor warping upward, gravity inverting until I collapsed, screaming, ears bleeding. And then I was in the Hall of Flesh screens. Imagine a room the size of a Costco, filled wall to wall with monitors made of human skin. That's the only way I can describe it. Each screen pulsed, twitched, had pores, some with hair. Some had lips whispering stream comments without sound. The walls moaned, not like pain, like pleasure, like they enjoyed watching. Each screen showed a different person, some brushing teeth, some crying, some dying, and some just sitting in silence, completely aware they were being observed by something they couldn't see. That's the ultimate horror of the red glass room. They don't want to kill you. They want to curate you. The final bit is, at the center of the room stood a slab, like a butcher's table, bloodied, used, already warm. They strapped me down with something that looked like wire, but moved like veins. Not tight, not painful, just inevitable, like I was never meant to leave. Above me, a projector descended, but instead of showing a movie or a stream, it displayed me, my body in layers, brain scans, muscle threads, thought patterns visualized like 3D art. Every bit of me mapped, and then the bidding began. But this time, it wasn't text on a screen, it was voices. One said, his voice box, high clarity, perfect for whisper campaigns. Another, hands, trained, digital input retention above 95%, good for algorithm control. Then came a voice, like glass shattering underwater. I want his fear, the old, raw kind, the one that makes the body tremble. We'll convert it into interface lag for the users, organic slowdown. The bidding reached over 6,000 units, whatever that means. I begged, screamed, cried, and they laughed. Or not laughed, really. They clapped. A slow, wet clap, like flippers slapping a cold slab of meat. Then the cutting started, but not with blades, with code. They began editing me in real time. One by one, pieces of my memory were highlighted and deleted. I could feel it happening. Each moment lost was accompanied by a pulse of heat behind my eyes, like a soldering iron burning away reality. They started with my first kiss. Gone. Then my childhood bedroom. Gone. Then Zach. I tried to scream his name, but it wasn't a name anymore. Just a blank in my mind, like a censored word, a redacted identity. Then they deleted my reflection. I don't mean metaphorically. They removed it. Wherever I go now, mirrors don't show me. Not even in photos. I'm a phantom. even to myself. They made me choose. In the final stage, I was presented with two versions of myself. On the left, Jake, the broken, terrified version. Me, still fighting. On the right, the streamer. Same body, same voice, but clean, controlled, eyes empty, perfect. A voice said, "Choose which version lives. The audience wants closure." I refused. They made me watch. They made me vote. Against myself. Every time I didn't pick, they erased a loved one from my memory. My grandmother, my old dog, my first best friend. Gone. Until it was just me versus the stream. And I chose him. Not out of fear, out of mercy. Because I knew, deep down, I'd already lost. I was no longer a person. I was already streamable. Epilogue. You're watching me. Right now. If you're reading this, you're already infected. You think this is just a story? It's not. This is the final stream post. The final upload. Every word you've read is part of the spread. Part of the code. That chip they put in my eye. It's digital, not physical. It travels through observation. By seeing me, you let it in. That's how the red glass room grows. That's how it spreads. Not through USBs, not through dark web links, but through stories, through curiosity, through you. Last warning. If your webcam light flickers tonight, disconnect it. If you hear tapping on your window above the second floor, don't look. If you ever see a comment on a random YouTube video that says, "I like the way your heart skips when you lie to yourself," run, because that means they've found you. And soon, you'll be streamable too.